Still had my volume up. Let's fix my lion's mane. I got called Mufasa last time I streamed. Good lord. How's it going, everybody? How is it going? Give it a minute. Maybe let a couple of people trickle in here if possible. Sorry, I had a little bit of a waiting section. I needed water, because water is, in fact, good for you. We do like water. We do like water. Anyways, so the Denver Broncos are hanging on to the AFC's 7th seed. If we go look at NFL.com/standings, or however you want to say that, Denver is currently in the 7th spot in the AFC. It's pretty much a three-way tie right now with the Ravens and Chargers. But as things sit right now, Denver is under those guys, having lost the head-to-head to both. Obviously, they got obliterated by the Ravens and lost a close one to the Chargers that looked like it could have been a blowout. So that's where things are sitting right now. Now they are playing the 8-seeded Colts, who are 2 games back of that 7 seed right now. But should the Colts win this game, they have a much more favorable schedule. Let me look up their schedule real quick, because should they win this, they have a way more favorable schedule coming up, and that would put them in an incredible position to snag that playoff spot. So this is about as close. This is a must-win for Denver. A win here would spike their playoff chances from 74 to 89 as we sit, but the Colts could go from 25 to 55, and that would put the Broncos at a 48% chance. So the Colts' upcoming schedule after this game, they play the Titans at home, they play the Giants on the road, which that might as well be a free win, and then they get the Jags at home in Week 18. That is an easy as pie schedule. None of those teams are even remotely competitive. Just out of the 3-win teams, like, none of them are the Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers have been really, really competitive as of late. And so, you know, and then you go look at Denver's upcoming schedule, because if they lose this game, it is an absolute gauntlet for them, should they lose. And so that makes their path to the playoff just that much harder. They have the Chargers in LA, Bengals in Cincinnati, and then they close out against the Chiefs at home. Now, I know I've been saying that things look good for the last little bit, which is because they do. Obviously, we go back a couple of weeks here. They take a last-second loss to the Chiefs on that bullshit blocked field goal. They obliterate the Falcons the next week, send the Raiders packing in their house, and then outlast the Browns on Monday night. Defense made a lot of good plays during that game. And so, you know, I am confident that this is a team that could still get to the playoffs, even despite maybe a loss to the Colts here. But I would not have nearly as much confidence, because this is kind of a bad Colts team right here, right? Anthony Richardson has been the definition of roller coaster and up and down, and it's been a lot more down than up for Mr. AR. If we go pull up his stats real quick, if I can type. Go find his stats here. Yeah, Anthony Richardson, it's been a rough season, man. Obviously, he's been benched. Oh, I switched the scene by accident. Shite. Not what I meant to do. Not what I meant to do. I switched the scene real quick. Damn it. Okay, I typed the wrong thing and switched the scene. Anyways, Anthony Richardson's stats are rough this season, running a 47.4% completion percentage, 1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. It has not been a great year for Anthony Richardson, and even dating back to really just the start of the year, like he had a kind of okay run here, but he's coming off of 5 games. You've got 41.7 completion percentage, 31.2, and then you have a 66-7 against the Jets, a 39-3 against the Lions, and then a 50 flat against the Pats. Anthony Richardson has not been a good quality quarterback this year. And I'm still kind of surprised that the Colts aren't starting Joe Flacco, just because I think he gives them the better chance to win right now. But of course, you want to see how a quarterback develops. You want to see how that whole thing is going to go. But when you get into the real nitty-gritty of it, I mean, Anthony Richardson is dragging this offense down. His weapons, however, are quite good. Let me flip back a couple of tabs here. Just a couple. I mean, this is a good roster here. Johnathan Taylor, he's been all right for him this year from what I've seen. I've only watched the Colts a couple of times. And then you've got Josh Downs, who's been really good for him. You have Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, who are both doing good things. Their defense has really good pieces. DeForest Buckner, for example. Jalen Jones has been all right as far as I know. Kenny Moore is still doing his thing. Zaire Franklin. And then obviously this is an O-line with Quentin Nelson, so Quentin Nelson is going to block the shit out of you, but he's only one guy on that line. I want to go back to my Jameis Winston argument here as, you know, Denver will be able to force stupid plays out of Anthony Richardson this week, because he is inaccurate as all hell. He has a strong, if Denver can limit the run game defensively and then stop huge plays on the back end, they're set. Anthony Richardson is inaccurate as all piss. And it's, you know, astounding that, like, he still kind of has his job here. If I go give ESPN a peek. Let's go give that a peek. Please load. Please load ESPN. Please load. Anyway, so we go look at the defensive numbers after that game. Denver still in the top 10, even after a rough one against Cleveland. I am still just kind of giving it rough glances here, so you don't got to watch me count on stream. Passing yards per game, they have fallen just a little bit because they are coming off of that really, really rough Cleveland game. So that's definitely less than ideal. Rushing, though, they are still up in the upper echelon of the league, and of course the only reason their passing numbers are down right now is because Levi Wallace hates everything good, which I feel bad for the guy. I am being really sarcastic here with Levi Wallace. It was bad, but, you know, I feel bad for the guy. I hope he figures something out. Anyways, Denver is still tied for second in points per game allowed defensively at 18. Even despite that performance against the Browns. Obviously, I don't think anyone's going to overtake the Chargers this year. They have a 3-point lead in that category. But this is still a team and a defense that can absolutely carry you guys. So now we go look offensively. And the Colts are bad. The Colts are bad. They're like bottom 10, bottom 11 in yards per game. You go look at passing yards per game, and it's bad. They are bottom 7 there at 192.7. So, you know, the 7 for that. Rushing-wise, they've been better. They just haven't been amazing. They are in the upper half of the league, and part of that, you know, Johnathan Taylor's kind of been, I think, a little bit of an unsung hero this year. Like, if we go really look... Ooh, I might have just switched scenes. I did it again! I did it again. I keep doing that. I might need to go mess with my hotkeys just a little bit. Yeah, you know, Anthony Richardson has been a little bit of an unsung hero here for the Colts. I mean, I have not heard his name called at all this year, man. And he's had a nice run of decent seasons. Obviously, he's had some injury issues, but he's still a huge threat that you have to account for. He has 804 yards on the ground for 4.3 a pop. Although he is coming off of a couple of rough performances here. Hasn't scored a touchdown since October 27th. Has Johnathan Taylor. But he's coming off of a 25 for 96 performance, 3.8 a carry. So he is coming off of some rough performances. He had a really good game against the Bills on November 10th. But, I mean, after that, it's been like 2.4 yards a carry, 3.2, 3.8 recently against the Pats. So he has been the offense, and I think defenses are starting to realize, hey, if you force this guy to throw, he's not doing shit. If you force this Colts offense into the passing dimension, yes, they can hit you for a big play every now and again, but you are not exactly hurting after those big plays because the Colts have no sustainability on offense. Their passing game has been awful this season, and that is being nice. And there is just, I mean, for what should be a de facto playoff game here, because Denver can get up to almost 90% playoff probability with this game. Yeah, okay, I'm losing my train of thought. So we will go look at the injury report because this could be huge, and I am going to speculate just a little bit. If I can find the injury report, let me go see if I can find that here. Injury report. There we are. Broncos injury report. So Riley Moss is out. They've only got 3 guys on the injury report this week. Riley Moss is out. And Tremon Smith, he's had personal stuff. I'm not sure what that is. He was limited Friday. He should be good to go for the game. And then Brandon Jones had an abdomen. He was limited Wednesday, Thursday. He was full on Friday. So that is trending well for him in that regard. So that brings up the question of who does Denver start at corner with Riley Moss out? And I'll get to that in a second. Colts, their injury report is certainly a lot longer. Mo Alley-Cox with a hip injury. He didn't practice Friday. He is listed as questionable. We'll see how that goes. Tanner Bortolini with a concussion. He's been full this week. He'll probably be good to go. DeForest Buckner he's had back and then just like rest. He was full for all week and then Friday didn't practice. Again, probably that rest thing. Their linebacker, Jalen Carley's fibula shoulder. He's been full all week, but he is listed as out on the Colts injury report. Josh Downs is listed as questionable. He's been full since Thursday. Ashton Doolin is out, as is Ryan Kelly, so they will be without their starting center this week. Tyquan Lewis is questionable. Nothing on his injury report in terms of practice participation. Michael Pittman with a back has been full. He's likely good to go. Braden Smith, he's had a personal matter. He is out, according to the injury report. And Grover Stewart doesn't really have anything listed. Has a DNP on Friday, but it says non-injury related, so they're just resting the guy. So he'll probably be good to go. So Colts could be without some huge guys, but Denver is going to be a little screwed without Riley Moss. Unless they figure something out, because they cannot throw Levi Wallace back out there. They absolutely cannot throw Levi Wallace back out there. So we go look at our unofficial depth chart here at the corner position. Obviously, it's still going to be Jaquan McMillan out there. But now at right corner, I mean, does that prompt you? Do you throw out a Damari Mathis? Do you see how he fares? Do you see how someone like a Chris Abrams-Drain fares out there? Because Levi Wallace looked completely lost last week or during Monday night when they played the Browns. And so the way that I'm thinking here is, and I've thought it over, I think they ran so much zone, because that was another critique of Vance Joseph of that game, is how much zone he ran when this is a man-to-man team. You have to try to mask your weakest players' like real weaknesses here, and even then that wasn't enough. I mean, Denver had to go back to man eventually, and it just wasn't happening at all. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to try and maybe rotate. Maybe you see Damari Mathis and Chris Abrams-Drain in at times. Obviously, Abrams-Drain the rookie, Damari Mathis kind of a what's the word? He lost his luster with Broncos country. I remember he had a rough couple of games for a minute with a lot of penalties and a lot of that sort of stuff going on with him. And so, we'll see what Denver opts to do. I thought Abrams drained. I mean, compared to Levi Wallace, anything looks great during that Cleveland game. But Chris Abrams' drain certainly looked like the better cornerback that day in his limited snaps. I would not be shocked to see Mathis and Drain get snaps right now, and maybe they've been kind of trying to get those guys ready during the bye week. I would not be surprised to see that be the case. I would like to see that be the case because you have to try something other than Levi Wallace after what we saw on Monday. I mean, you absolutely have to. Just no ands, ifs, or buts on that one. So going back to some of these offensive numbers real quick, yards per game. Denver is sitting at that 320 mark. Colts only 9 yards behind him. So these are two really similar offenses, although Denver's offense has been better as of late. And I really wish there was a way to find like splits on ESPN. Maybe I could do that on Pro Football Reference. But that's too much typing, and I'm going to end up inevitably switching scenes when I don't mean to, and I've already done that twice. So it is what it is. But Denver's still sitting in I think just at the top of the lower third of the league there in yards per game. You look at passing yards per game, they're right around where they still were, going for 209 a pop, although that has also been going up. Bo Nix doesn't take sacks, obviously, very often. And yeah, I mean, good stuff going for the Broncos as we speak. You look at the rushing offense for them. Denver's, the rushing offense still isn't that great, and it is worse than Indianapolis. They're going for about 111 a game, which they're kind of like jammed in there with a couple other teams. I mean, Chargers aren't running the ball that well. They're basically tied with Denver. So what are my keys to victory? And they're actually very, very simple this week. Very simple keys to victory for the Denver Broncos. Limit Johnathan Taylor. A lot of teams have been doing it lately. You limit Johnathan Taylor because this Colts offense cannot run through the pass. They cannot. Force some turnovers out of Anthony Richardson. Whether that's, strip sacks from him holding the ball a little too long, or whether that's just good coverage assignments, or whatever it is, a mix of everything. It's the same argument that I'm going to make for Jameis Winston that I did during the Cleveland game. You can force stupid throws out of Anthony Richardson, and I think the Denver Broncos will be able to do just that this week. He is inaccurate as all hell, and take advantage of that inaccuracy. Be ready to jump for a ball that's gone awry. Be ready to catch something heading your way that you weren't expecting, because Anthony Richardson is going to miss targets. This is a great opportunity for the Broncos defense to have a huge rebound game because of how bad Anthony Richardson has played this year. And that, I don't, the completion percentage is still crazy to me. It's like Tim Tebow numbers for Anthony Richardson. If I'm being honest here. Another key to victory is you have to get this run game going. And I think you got to lean on someone like a Jaleel McLaughlin or somebody like an Audric Estime. The only snaps that I think Javonte Williams should be getting now are pass pro snaps. Because he is, I think, out of that running back room as we speak at the current moment. Javonte Williams is the best pass protector in the running back room for the Denver Broncos. And I think those are the only snaps he should be getting right now. Other than that, Estime needs to be getting more carries. He is the fast bowling ball type of back that honestly reminds me of pre-injury Javonte Williams, as much as that sucks to say. And then you've got Jaleel McLaughlin, who's been your hot hand a few times this season. He has been the spark plug to this offense when the running game has gone stagnant. You've been able to plug him in and watch him fly. And that is the kind of production you need in bursts, but you need a real number one here to really carry the load. That's going to set up Denver to throw the ball wherever the hell they want it, because the Colts are okay. Like the Colts aren't bad by any means. Their defense isn't full on like awful, but it is. Their defense actually might be full on awful here. They are like bottom 4 in defense right now. They're allowing 379.4 a game total yards per game. you should be able to take advantage of this Colts team. And I think this is the Denver Broncos team that really, I have faith in this team. I think similar teams from years past didn't have the coaching, or they didn't have the culture to be able to keep some of this momentum going. And whether or not both of these teams are coming off of bye weeks, because they are, this is a Broncos team that I can put faith in right now. Even with some of the injuries, obviously the Riley Moss injury is bad. I have faith that the players behind him have developed enough, other than Levi Wallace, of course, excluding him, to be able to step up and do something. And I mean, I think depth is something Denver will address in the offseason as we're going into that, and I'll talk about that when we're getting there at some point during the next couple of months. But right now, this is a Broncos team that I am firmly more confident in than I have been any other team since 2016. Since 2016. And even now, and that's going to lead me into a whole other tangent, which I'm not going to touch on yet, but I will get there. I will get there. I'll open the stream for questions soon. I will. But really, if I had to predict a score here, like, I think Denver's got this, man. I really do. I think we could be looking at like a 28-17 type of game from these guys. This Colts defense is bad, and the Broncos offense isn't much better, but it's been trending in the right direction. And if we continue to see Marvin Mims be used the way he has been, the way, if we continue to see the development out of Devon Bailey and Troy Franklin, this Broncos offense is poised to just air raid these Colts. And that's kind of the way I'm feeling about it. The side tangent here that I wanted to go on is that I never see anyone talk about how bad the Broncos collapsed in 2016. That is something that I never see. And this part will get cut out of the video. I never see, if you're just joining, sorry, you missed a lot of the analysis parts here. I'm on a tangent right now. I never see anyone talk about how bad the collapse of the 2016 Broncos was. And it's like, you always hear about, like, the 09 Broncos. Started 6-0, finished whatever. There was, I think it's the 08 Cowboys that had, like, T.O. on them. They started out really well and then completely blew it in the last couple of weeks. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The 2016 Broncos were like 8-4 through 12 games, and they completely blew the division. They blew it, and they lost a playoff spot because of it, because they got, I remember watching them get just like completely slaughtered on Christmas. I watched the Don Terry Poe touchdown throw live, and it makes me cry every time I think about it. It does. I talked to my therapist about that, and then they promptly told me to get the fuck out of the room. That's what my therapist told me. But yeah, on that tangent, obviously I'm going to reiterate my score prediction. I have it 28-17 Denver. I think the Colts defense can be taken advantage of, and I don't think their offense is good enough to really keep up with Denver in that way. Maybe they get a garbage time score. But with that being said, thank you everybody for checking in, even if you didn't say anything. It was appreciated. I'm glad to have some people hear what I'm talking about. If you did enjoy, and I will be streaming tomorrow, I do live commentary. Trying to become a live some sort of live commentary. I don't know what I'm quite trying to say. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I will be streaming the Broncos-Colts game. I'm really excited for that, so watch out for that if you are a guy that likes listening to commentary. Like the stream, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all tomorrow. I have a video to go edit now on the gaming channel, so with that being said, have a good night, go Broncos, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have an amazing night, ladies and gentlemen.